order to avoid these disasters, and also to also prevent other disasters, because with an overcrowding you can also have public health issues, and we know also about the protection and security issues, and overcrowding is one of the causes. However, I also want to acknowledge that in the area of Cox's Bazar, it has been raining a lot. I am based in Cox's Bazar, and also lots of Bangladeshi families have been affected. So also all our condolences to them. On the birds, about the Rohingya children being born in Bangladesh, it is indeed a concern, because according to the Bangladeshi law, it is normally the jus soli, so the law of the land, that if you're born in Bangladesh, you become Bangladeshi. But for the moment, Rohingya refugees do not receive a birth certificate, so you cannot say that they become Bangladeshi. And it's even more concerning for them, because they are also not recognized in Myanmar as an ethnicity. As you know, they have been unregistered from the civil law in 1981, I think. And so it's a stateless population. So if there is no documentation about their existence, it's a life. It's a breach of their right to life, basic rights. So we are advocating also to seek solutions, and I'm looking at my colleague Shafi, because he's our assistant protection officer and an expert in the legal laws and legal procedures for Bangladesh. So also there we are looking at how we can solve this for children, at least to have an identity. About the 309,000 who will secure them if they go back to Myanmar. So I heard, and we are repeating, that voluntary repatriation has to be in safety, security, and dignity. So normally refugees shouldn't be returned to, as per our international principles, voluntary repatriation can only be organized once it is voluntary, and once also we confirm that there is safety and security. So our role as United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees is to, in collaboration with our colleagues and the international community, to also, once the conditions are prone and are conducive to return, to confirm that by a position paper, as we do in other operations. And so for the moment, yes, the conditions are not prone to return, but we hope that this happens. On the solutions, and as many of you mentioned, it is a collective solution. It's not only Bangladesh, because you are hosting 1.2 million Rohingya refugees since many years, and thank you so much for that. Sign of hospitality and solidarity, but it needs indeed the continuous attention of the international community. On one hand, for engagement, diplomatic and political engagement in Myanmar, for the conditions to be established for safe and secure return. It also requires international burden sharing or responsibility sharing. We have, as UNHCR, we are supporting a resettlement program, but however, since 2025, the numbers of the quotas for resettlement have drastically reduced. We used to have a very large quota for the US, but as you know, last year this one was postponed or cancelled somehow. So we are now with a very small quota, and only 2 resettlement countries that are accepting Rohingya refugees in their country. So this is for very specific cases. And then the third issue to look at is also to look at more enabling policies from the Bangladeshi government. I heard and I support the fact that Rohingya should also have more rights being recognized here, such as freedom of movement, access to work, access to education, so that they can contribute effectively to the social and economic life in Bangladesh. Yes, so these were a few points I wanted to share. And again, thank you for organizing this session and also for keeping the Rohingya issue high on the agenda and the attention from everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Assistant Representative for Protection Kashmir, for giving the explanation about the landslide and the education issue and the citizenship issue from the UN point of view, which are very, very important. I know that there are lots of debates about this UN positions about voluntary and safe return, that this is a kind of a debate within the academic area and also the international agencies, because the question is that who will decide the definition of safe return? That's one of the major important things, because what we have seen that when the Syrian refugees decided to go back to Syria after the war, still Syria is in some sort of civil war. So this is a big question, that how the international community with the refugee and how they can come to a consensus about the safe return. But there is no 100% safe return as far as I do understand. There will never be 100% safe return. There will always be a risk in this kind of situation, whether we are talking about Syria, Myanmar, or this kind of the countries who have been in the civil war for a long period of time. But this is always good to have that debate discussion, and especially having the voice of the Rohingya themselves. What do they want? How do they want? What is their definition of safe return? What is their definition of respectful return and voluntary return? So that will be a very, very interesting. And having the perspective of UN is always very good, because UN is playing a very important role. We'll go to our keynote speaker as the last speech and the concluding. Before that, if there are any other last comments, we have another ambassador here, Mr. Tarek, who were in Myanmar a few years. Mr. Tarek, you want to give a very quick comment?
Thank you very much for inviting me. Yes, I was in Myanmar. I was a guest here. Ambassador Subio was I think there were some questions raised regarding the legal procedures, international legal procedures. I think it's a good opportunity to update the gathering here. There are two cases actually in the International Court of Justice, ICJ, which is a state level case. The other one is ICC, which ICC took upon itself the initiative, prohibited, they call it in the legal term. So on that ICC case, there has already been the court applied for arrest warrant in the case of genocide against line in Myanmar. And the ICJ case has just seen the last public oral hearing in January 2026. So the ruling is awaited. One thing must be mentioned here: the ICJ case is not an advisory opinion. It has got legal findings, so it's different than other cases in ICJ. So it has got some legal tips. I don't know how it will be implemented, but that's the update. Secondly, I think we need to be a little bit cautious about not developing Rohingya crisis fatigue. In so many cases involving mass movement of people around the world, we see this kind of fatigue affecting the outcome, the resolution. So we need to be careful about that, and we need to have discussions, obviously, but we should be careful, and we should be discussing and trying to develop a roadmap or pathway, whatever, which is outcome oriented. I think it would be better for us if we remember that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. আমরা এখন সব শেষ পর্যায়ে চলে এসেছি আমাদের আজকে সেমিনারের keynote